marketing is really focused around one thing: getting business. I know people talk about branding and putting a position out of the marketplace, but at the end of the day, if you're a small to medium enterprise, you want results. You want stuff that works. You don't want to waste money and leak money into different areas that aren't getting you the return on investment you need. And good marketing should be like investing. You know the numbers and you can get a return back. So this presentation is all about 2012 being effective. Being effective. You might be doing a lot of different things in marketing and they might be working, but we want to bring attention to the things that are important. Now, so you start this year and you start to make some plans. And I hear quite a lot of different things when I speak to people. They go, oh, start of the year, our website is an important part of our marketing. We need to update it, or they use these phrases like we need to refresh it and make it a bit better. You hear things about, oh, we need to get some business. Maybe we should throw a bit of money into Google AdWords, or maybe you start thinking about AdWords and you threw a bit of money into Google AdWords to get some business and it didn't work. And maybe you're running AdWords, for example, and you think it could be working better. Or you're going, well, I've been spending money on online advertising, and maybe I should try a bit of SEO. And you hear these different terms like search engine optimization, and you go, well, who do I use for that? And there's so many different companies, and you're getting 3 or 4 phone calls a week, and 10 emails from India trying to offer you these services. And you may be hesitant. You may be going, well, where do I spend my money? What's going to work? Is this the right solution? And you get asked the questions. Things are tight at the moment. Maybe going offshore is the best option, and a lot of people are asking that question. And then I hear a lot of people talk about, yeah, I need to do some social media. I'm going to get onto the social media thing, and it can become very sporadic and very almost reactive way of doing marketing, where you hear bits and pieces, and then I find people would start focusing on this one area, and then they'll ignore this area. So one of the main things I want you to do is just stop. If you're thinking like that, you're going to head down the track of really not making things effective and wasting money. Why? Because, well, in small business, we all have an attitude of being reactive. We always want to do something and find a quick fix or a solution to get a bang for buck and so on. But the danger of doing that is you can waste money. And the danger is you can try something and burn that opportunity and not go back to it again because you said, well, that didn't work. So this presentation is really putting a foot on the brake and going, well, what is really going to work? And how am I going to get the best possible results from the internet? You know that the internet is important. You know that everyone's going online. It's nothing new anymore. It's common for everyone to know that the internet is one of the strongest sources of generating business, apart from something like word of mouth. So the focus of what I'm going to start off with is I'm going to talk very strategically. So, but before I do, let's ask some questions about that, right? So some important questions to consider if you are thinking about doing those different things. Here are some of the questions to draw attention to maybe some risks associated with not doing things correctly. What's the point of running AdWords if you don't know what your cost per lead is? You're spending $1,000 a month. How much business are you getting from that? What's your cost per lead or cost per sale? What's the point of doing SEO if your website's like a revolving door? You spend all this money, but then your website doesn't convert. What's the point of doing SEO if you're not optimizing, the keywords that actually are the ones that will get you business? You may be getting all this traffic, but if you're focusing on traffic that isn't turning into business, well, what's the point of doing it? It's a waste of money. What's the point of injecting cash into AdWords if your landing pages aren't working and they're going in and they're bouncing? You look at the bounce rates and they're bouncing straight off again. What's the point of marketing a business if what you do looks like everybody else? If there's 10 key competitors in your area and they're basically going to choose, and then when people choose on 10 different people that look like the same thing, they end up choosing based on price and not based on value. And what's the point of outsourcing a new website if it's going to make you look like everybody else in the marketplace? So this is where this point comes in: strategy before tactics. And when people start talking about tactics like AdWords or social media or getting a new website or all these different things, I start to get a little bit fearful for them, because the people that do that, I talk to them 12 months down the track and they say, oh, this didn't work, or worked a little bit and we're putting it on pause. So the key thing in internet marketing is being strategic, seeing the big picture and thinking about what's going to make those things work. Another key principle to this online marketing, and these are older principles, foundational marketing principles. Another one is understanding the difference between advertising and marketing, because we seem to use these phrases and we between the two, but do we really know what the difference mean, them are. So let me make a point here. Marketing is what makes advertising work. So advertising are those things, things like ads or Facebook ads or delivery methods, your message out there. Marketing is what makes advertising work. And marketing is the call to actions, the position, makes it unique. Marketing is the brains behind advertising. And if you want to get more ROI, return on investment from your advertising, you need to ask the questions about how effective is your marketing right now. And that's the focus of what I'm going to be talking about right now, are strategies to do with marketing to make your online advertising work. Now, another big question before we get into that is, at the end of the day, you're going to end up needing to spend money, and with small to medium businesses, money is one of the big issues with these things. And you go, well, I learn all this stuff, but how much money should I spend on this? And I really don't like that way of thinking, because you can say I've got a $20,000 a year advertising budget or advertising and marketing budget, or I want to employ someone for $15,000 a year part-time to be my marketing manager. But how do you gauge whether that spend is right or not? And the old way of doing things is you create an advertising budget. The awesome thing about the internet through tracking is it changes your whole paradigm on spending money on the internet, because it becomes about results. So a true advertising budget should be based on results. And because everything on the internet now can be tracked to the phone call, to the lead, to the click. So we've got here cost per click, cost per lead, cost per sale. A better question is how much is that business costing me versus how much should I spend on advertising? Because once you know your business will cost you, let's say $300 per sale or $120 per lead, or whatever the metric is, you go, well, if you turn your lead into a product, you'll keep on buying them, because the more you buy those leads, the more business you'll get. And this is a shift in marketing. It's all about results, and it's all about what do I need to spend to get the results that I need. So these are some very important paradigms, or some very important concepts or foundational principles to focus 2012. So it's, we're going to focus on getting our marketing right, not just spend money on advertising. We're going to focus on working out what's going to cost us to get that business. And, and we're not just going to be ad hoc, just doing things left, right, and center, and not really seeing and measuring those results. So another key principle here, and Brendan will be talking later on about some of the very practical ways of implementing these things. One of the most important things at the moment is conversion. So a lot of people are talking about traffic, and you're getting these phone calls and people wanting to help you get more people to your website. And traffic is important to take that further. Quality traffic is important. But what's even more important is conversions. If you're not getting the conversions, and the conversion being the result that you desire, a lead or inquiry, you're just spending money and you're wasting it. So traffic, I've got a simple thing here. Traffic to your website plus conversions equals more sales. So what I'm going to be focusing around are some of the strategies that can be implemented around getting greater conversions online. Because at the end of the day, if you're not getting conversions, then what's the point of just doing anything? I hear people say, oh, I've got a website, it's just a presence on the internet, or, we just need to get our name out there, and they use these general statements. But it's a whole lot of fluff. Unless you can see the bottom line and what you're getting back, there is no point doing it. And I would suggest to cut everything that you can't track to see if you're getting a return on investment. So conversions is the key to getting more business online, more leads, more inquiries. And to take that further, a good question to ask yourself is, what type of conversion do I want? There's something called a lead, but there's also something called a qualified lead. So if you were to be nose to nose, toes to toes with a person, what would that person look like? What need would they be coming to you with? These are the questions to ask, because this will help you position your marketing to generate qualified business, people who you want to do business with. A good question is, who is your ideal customer? If you could get a room of people who would be the perfect fit for the type of business you want to generate, what would those people look like? If you could fill that presentation room with those people. And it's reverse engineering. If we can start with the end in mind, we can gear your marketing around what type of conversions you'll be getting. So I hope you're getting excited with conversions right now and seeing that this is so critical for your, the longevity of your business. Now let's get into some very important things. So the right message for the right market. Now let's get down to some marketing foundations, and I'll talk about how they're relevant on the web. So, you know, a lot of people I come across, they have a website, they're running Google, they threw some content together, they put it up on the internet. This may be you, it might not be you, but a lot of times that was the case. It was a reactive style. Now, if I was to say something, if I was to say what is one of the most important things of getting your online presence to work, it will be getting the right message. To get the conversions, your message, what you communicate, what you say, and how that's relevant to a prospective person who would do business with you is the message. And this is the weak area. So I want to talk a little bit about the message and then how that message is translated. You know, a lot of the times when you read a website, I find that people write in a selfish manner. Their content, their messages, it's all about what their product does, you know, what they're saying about, you know, what they do, and so on. Now, those things are important because people need to understand what you offer. But what's more important are the people who are actually reading it. So what do people actually want? And how do you make that relevant to those people? How do you line your messages with your market? And when those two things are lined together, that is when there is an emotional response in that person to respond. Now, one of the key things here is becoming an authority. Now, this hits two birds with one stone because Google, they want authorities. They want experts in a certain field. They're not looking for people to manipulate the internet to get higher up. They're looking for an authority in the marketplace. So one of the big questions is before you do anything, copywriting changes, web design changes, Google, you need to ask yourself the key question, what are you going to be an authority in? What are you going to specialize in? People want to deal with specialists, and the more you specialize, the more perceived value there is, and the more you're going to stand out from the crowd. A really good question to ask is the why question. Why should people choose you? And you're seeing this become so much more prominent on the internet with content. You know, you see these why choose us pages, or these 5 or 7 reasons why you should choose us. And the reason why to being very prominent in the front end of a website, being very, very clear. Because at the end of the day, you can have a great looking website, but if they don't understand what value you have to provide and why they should choose you, they're going to go to your competition. And another question is, how can you create value? You know, it's not just about getting a lot of business, it's about getting good quality business. And people don't buy based purely on price, they buy based on value. And if you are writing something down, there are 2 things that will create value online, and these are the 2 things that are missed. Features and benefits. Feature being what you do as a service or what your product does, and a benefit is how that is translated to be made relevant to that prospective market. And when you connect those 2 things together, they see the value in what you have to offer. And as you're thinking, think about your website, think about your content, think about what you're saying to those people, and are you creating the value in their minds through content? And some people say, well, you know, the website's just a bridge into, you know, me having a chat to them, and I don't want to have too much cluttered information on there and too much information, and they might go to another website. Yes, that's true. I'm not talking about fluff. I'm talking about concise, sharp, key messages that communicate clearly what you do and why they should use you. And a lot of that copywriting can be done in a very concise way where it isn't fluff, it's very precise key points. So features and benefits, and that's one thing that's critical. And how much credibility do you build online? You think about it, if they're coming off the internet, they don't know who you are. Unless you spent millions of dollars on a brand, they don't know, you know, what your credos is. So there are key things for credibility, and those things like why use us, testimonials, FAQs, case studies, and so on, they're the things that you want to be communicating on it. Now, we've actually got some copywriting models. We've gone through a lot of copywriting training, and we've come up with very precise copywriting systems to help produce content to compel people to want to buy you. And this can make the difference between 1 lead a day and 5 leads a day. I'm serious. We've seen those types of results. We've seen websites start spitting out leads when their copy has been targeted, sharp, and relevant. So I like to use this phrase quite a lot. Copywriting is king, because copywriting is that thing that you use to produce that content. And people say, maybe you're 101 stages here and you hear this phrase copywriting and you go, what's that got to do with? Is that got to do with legal copywriting? No. Copywriting literally comes from the word copywriting. It's proven, tested, measured ways of producing content that will compel people to want to use your services. So this year, focus not just on your website, but focus 2012 about clearing up your messages, getting them sharp, getting them ready for people to come to your website. The second thing, now what I'm going to give you, I like to cut through all the fluff and all the rubbish and just give you some very good specific things so you can walk away from these seminars going, okay, I've actually got something. It wasn't someone just trying to sell me their product. This guy or this business is actually giving me some things I can make relevant to my website. Now there's something I'm calling website conversion elements. So these are elements that can be used on your website that have been proven and tested through testing and measuring and monitoring results to increase conversions. Now, a lot of this has got to do with design, a little bit's got to do with copy, but these are things that you can apply to your website to get that conversions going. So we've got here, I've copied and pasted a few different elements of things that we've tested to get conversions. Now, there's a whole process around testing. I'm not going to go through that now, but that's something Brendan will be talking about. But here are some of the things we've come up with from a strategy perspective. First thing you see in the top left-hand corner, 10% off. You know, having special offers on the websites, having special offer banners to draw people attention. People still like offers, and it's something that compels them to make a move. People, you know, that's the success of Groupon and Living Social. People are offer-driven, and if they can see they can save some money, that is going to produce a conversion. The thing you see next to it there, you see a guarantee. Now this is, a lot of people go, should I use this company? If I go there, I used companies before, what's the risk? A guarantee is you really putting your money where your mouth is and saying, if you're not happy, we'll do this for you. So clearly displaying guarantees eliminates the risks and really presents to people that, you know, you're serious about getting their business and you're willing to guarantee it. So displaying guarantees. Now down the bottom, I'll skip some things down here. Down the bottom, you see these buttons, right? And they have an action word. These buttons are amazing. They're so small. It's amazing how the smallest, simplest things can get the best results. And these call to action buttons really, it compels people to make a move. If you want a conversion, they're either going to do something. If you're a home improvement company, they're going to want a quote. If you're an accountant, they're going to want a consultation. If you're a lawyer, they want you to maybe review something. And us as a marketing company, we do these audits. So there's a point where they need to make an action. And it's like the old school sales technique of asking for the sale. At some point, you're going to have to ask them to make a move. So you see here some buttons. We use these buttons here for a school. You know, request an information pack, talk to an advisor. They're big, they're clear. You know, a driving school, we had a bit of an emotional response copy about safety at the top, and then a book now. These things are powerful. I know someone who spends at the moment $300,000 a year on purely Google advertising, a large company in Queensland, and he said to me that those buttons were the thing that started really getting the conversions online, and that was a strategy that I gave him a few years ago. Now, another thing you'll see here is on the right-hand side, you'll see a form. People fill out forms. People are very impulse, and if they see some kind of option to respond, having the form there, you know, they might click on the button and then they have to respond somewhere. So clearly displaying a form, I've grabbed that out of a section of another website, and that's static on the website all the time. So people when they want to respond, they can respond straight away. So I like to give things names, so I'll call that a lead capture form. So we've got guarantees, call to action buttons, and lead capture forms. Now just below the guarantee and the 10% off, we've got here what I'm calling compelling headlines. It's an old statistic where 80% of the success of any advertisement in advertising has always been remembered as being the thing, which is a headline. So when you read a newspaper, what are you looking for? You're looking for something to grab your attention. So benefit-driven headlines at the top of every page on the website, targeting those emotional needs of your prospect, will help with conversions online. And you'll see it. You'll look at your Google Analytics and so on, and you'll see those bounce rates start to drop. And the last thing is something that I really like to make an emphasis on with converting, and something that it's one of my favorite conversion tools. Because it helps set up a lead in a way where they're willing to talk to a business owner, and that's what I call a lead generation offer. Now this is something I've taken from a banner off one of our websites. It's a company called Design Tech, and they design and build homes. We've got here a 3D session where people can respond. If you're looking for a house, you can respond to this 3D session, get some 3D designs done, and start to see what a home looks like before you get involved in the building process. So that's something of value that's being offered in a consultative way that people can respond to. And then when they get the lead, they're not picking up the phone saying how much you charge. They're willing to sit down with you for a period of time. So if you're a builder, maybe an on-site inspection, if you're an architect, a 3D consultation, if you're a home improvement company, some kind of inspection, if you're professional services, a consultation, but something you can offer people that will set you up as an expert and authority in what you do, and they're talking to you as the doctor rather than just someone who's trying to quote on what they have to offer. So these are all tools, all little things you can add to your website to increase the conversions online. Now this is a really good conversion tool as well. We're talking about conversions, and conversions isn't just about what happens to people when they go to your website the first time. Because people, believe it or not, people are going to go to your website and they're going to disappear. And then they're going to go to other websites. People are getting a lot more slower in how they go around purchasing something. So you need a way to get them back to your website. Now, a lot of people use things like Facebook to do that, like us, and then they go into your system. But I still like the old school method of capturing people's emails as well, because people still do read emails. So what we want to do is we want to capture their attention, capture some details, and then we want to be able to have a permission-based relationship to communicate to them, and then gradually bring them back into your marketing funnel. Now, one of the things we use to do this is what we call an opt-in system. And an opt-in system is you're providing what I call an ethical bribe, or a shy yes, or to convert that person into a relationship to get more information. Now, you see the one on our website, and you're more than welcome to order it. It's a free report called 7 Steps to Doubling Your Internet Inquiries. People have to leave their first name, last name, and their email address to get it. Now, it's an opt-in system is because they're opting in for something. Now, one thing, that information, why information? It's not just to capture their details, it's to build credibility. There's two ways of getting credibility, I strongly feel. One way is to hear what other people are saying about you. This person's great, I refer him, or on your website, a case study or a testimony, because that's a transfer of trust. So that's one really great way of getting credibility. The second way of getting credibility is information. Have you ever spoken to someone, and as you're talking to them, they sounded like they knew what they're talking about, and you started to trust them? That's what information does. So if you're providing information and setting yourself up as an expert and an authority, they're more likely to trust you. So it is a credibility tool. And the model for marketing is called 90% information, 10% sell. So it's not sell, sell, sell. It's actually give, give, give. And you give away your best away for free. And by doing that, it shows you're a giver, but you're also an expert. And the other thing is that we said on this for this presentation, automate your marketing process. So we have systems, myself and Brendan from Web-Based Marketing, to automate, create an autoresponder series. So when they leave those details, it's automated. You don't have to send them emails and go in and write another email and follow them up. We want to do what's called an autoresponder series. And the reason why we want to do that is we want to automate follow-up to bring them back into your marketing funnel. Now, this strategy can be used for emails, and that's the primary focus of what we do for a lot of our customers. But you can use the same ethical bribe to say, like this page, and we'll give you this as well. So it can also increase your likes on Facebook, and having a customized Facebook page where it's an incentive to like you. So that's a way of automating follow-up, building credibility, and dragging people back to your website once they've left. Now, I'm going to hand over to Brendan, and he's going to be talking a lot about, I guess, Brendan is I'd call a technical genius. He knows a lot about all the technology that's out there to really test and measure these things to work. Now, he's going to be going through some things in regards to specifics around conversions and how we've tested these things to get to this point and how they can be tested for you, and also SEO. SEO, people are starting to stop spending money on AdWords and start to spending their money on getting traffic from their website without paying for clicks. Now, just before I hand over to Brendan, just some key things I would like to suggest from a marketing strategy perspective about SEO, or search engine optimization, which is the process of ranking your website higher in Google. A focus for this year is quality over quantity. So you want traffic coming to your website, and you can optimize everything under the sun, but the question is, what is the things that you optimize to get the quality? What you want to look for is targeted traffic and doing the correct keyword research from a marketing targeting perspective to find those target segment groups that will bring you the return on investment. One thing I would really like to advise is against outsourcing offshore and really cheap services. It's degrading to search and optimization to think you can spend a little money to get a big result. And that's not the way to do it. There's a lot involved. There are simple principles that govern it, govern that process. But strategy before tactics. You need the right strategy in place. And another thing to focus on are these long tail versus long tail versus short tail. It's starting to get impossible for some areas to optimize a keyword like, let's say, Builder Sydney, because it's so competitive. The opportunity sitting in the market for 2012 for you are these long tail key phrases. So maybe a specific type of building, or maybe building it in specific suburbs. They're the opportunities that haven't quite been hit yet. So for this year, if you can find some longer tail key phrases or keywords that are a lot more niche and a lot more narrow and won't get the higher search volumes, but will get these little streams of traffic coming to your website over a period of time. Now,
the other advantage to that, Jordan, sorry to interrupt there, the other advantage to the long tail versus short tail is that you're getting people who are really targeted to what it is that you want. So they're looking for exactly what it is that you're after. So just to explain the difference as well, in case you're not sure, long tail means a very long keyword. So it could be electrical contractors specialising in commercial on the northern beaches would be a really long tail keyword, as opposed to electrician, which would be a short tail or a short keyword. So
So hand over to you, Brennan. You've got some stuff prepared in terms
yes,
of
I do.
I'll specific things to make all this work.
Thank you. I'll just change the screen to mine so we can use my my slides while I'm presenting here. So what I wanted to start with is just talking a little bit about the importance of measuring everything. So one of the great things about doing any marketing online is that you should be able to measure exactly what it is that you're doing, and that can be in the form of measuring the number of visitors that you're getting to your website. Obviously, the number of sales tends to be fairly easy to measure. If you've got those two values, then you can work out what your conversion rate is, so you can measure that. You can also measure things like your rankings in the search engines, so you can find out what it is that you're. Why isn't that playing? So you can see exactly where you're ranking. So if you're measuring, for example, you have a keyword and you do a search in Google for pages from Australia, and you write down what the position was that you've got. By tracking this information, you can see if there's more competition coming into that market, if you're slipping down and you need to do some work on that section, or you can see that you're moving up the search engines if you're currently not on the first page. So measuring keywords is one thing you need to do. The other thing you need to do is monitor where you rank in terms of your competition. So there's a tool, OpenSiteExplorer.org. And that particular website shows you this type of information, where you can very quickly see your website versus any of your competition, and you can add in up to 5 on the free version of this. This is a tool that you can go and use right now, OpenSiteExplorer.org, and it tells you what this particular site thinks your page authority is. The number of links that are happening to that particular URL, and internal links as well, and then gives you an indication of how many external links there are, and an overall picture of where you stand in relation to your competition. So there's tools like that can help you. There's also tools, there's another plugin that you can get for most internet browsers. This particular one, SEO Quake, I use in Firefox. And it can give you this sort of page information. In this particular case, I was looking at a client. I wanted to see that the title tags were picked up properly, the meta and description tags. So this is all really technical stuff. It helps to have an understanding of what's happening. Sometimes it's easier to get someone who knows what they're doing to actually make the changes for you. And then it also goes into the detail of keyword density. Now, this is again, it's the jargon that the real SEO boffins need to understand what it is and how it works. But what it can do for you is when you're looking at your competition, you can see how effective they're being with their keywords if their title and meta descriptions match in terms of their keyword density. More for the 2 and the 3 word keyword phrases. I'm not so worried about the 1 word keyword phrases, but it's a great tool. It's very easy to use, and again, it's another free tool that you can use. So there's a bunch of things that when you're talking about search engines, people will say things like you need to know about change in algorithms or every time something happens. It really isn't the case. I would have to say you need to know nothing about what a search engine is after. Really what you need to focus on is the basics, and the basics haven't really changed in the last couple of years, and they're quite simple. So the basics remain the same. You need to make sure you're creating a lot of relevant content, and that content can be in terms of articles, it can be in terms of videos, it can be any type of content. And make sure you're putting that content onto your website, so Google actually sees that the content is both on your website as well as when you're adding links to your website, it's attributed back to your website. So you need to be able to create links. Now, there's a lot of, Jordan mentioned a moment ago about sending information offshore to get people to do things for you offshore. Now, offshore, in principle, there's nothing wrong with it. We use stuff offshore every day. The challenge is in guiding them in the right way to get you the results that you want. And that's where the experiments that we've had has shown that the people that are operating from offshore don't necessarily understand the big picture of what you really need. They're not talking about your overall marketing strategy. They're coming to you with one little tool that doesn't really solve the whole picture. They might be able to get you to the top for a keyword, but there's no overall strategy that says that keyword is actually a keyword that's going to convert into more customers for you, or that the page that they are optimizing for you is a page that's going to relate well to the visitor who's coming to your website. So that's why I've added the text at the end here, which says from reputable websites. What happens when you buy links on a lot of these places that are approaching you? We can buy links for you for $1 each or $5 each or whatever, is that you'll find that the quality of those links is very low, so low in fact that the search engines don't actually use them in order to decide what the importance of your website. One of the other basics is you need to take advantage of the second largest search engine in the world. Now, it may come as a surprise to some of you. The second largest search engine in the world is also owned by Google. It's called YouTube. And what you should be doing is creating regular videos and placing them on there with a conversation in the video about your products, your services, the same message that you're getting across on your website. So the why use us message needs to be come through on your video. So it also helps to create yourself as an authority, which is what Jordan was talking about earlier as well. And by having that the video there is a great way to generate more traffic. It especially works well with how-to type videos. It doesn't have to be something funny or stupid or someone hurting themselves in order to get a lot of hits. You can get a lot of hits for all sorts of things, and it could be how to do what your service is, or it could be how to become a better client, anything that you can think of that what you do is it could simply be how to choose the best of your particular service, or who's going to work best for you. So there's a lot of videos out there. There's no harm in repeating topics. You can do the same topic every couple of weeks in amongst some other videos, and I won't harp on any longer about videos, but they're really they're going to be one of the big things for 2012. In a moment, I'm going to go through my top tips for what I think is going to be important in 2012 for online marketing. And one of the other basics that I see time and time again that people are missing out on is owning your Google Places listing. So if you haven't used Google Maps before, go and do a Google search for maps, and I'm sure you'll find it. And then search for your business. If you find your business there, it's probably there because Google have an agreement with Yellow and White Pages, or with Census, to reproduce the same data in there. So quite often it's old. It's not always accurate. So go and claim your listing. There's an icon there to let you do that, and that's one of the, particularly for local search, which is one of the catch cries of Google at the moment, is that they want to provide results that are relevant to the location, and that's one way of ensuring that you're appearing for local searches. So the next thing I wanted to talk a little bit about was conversion. So conversion, basically, I know Jordan's gone into this in some degree, is conversion is encouraging more visitors to become clients. And he used a similar slide here. What is conversion? The number of goals, and for you a goal could be sales or it could be an inquiry, divided by the number of visitors equals your conversion rate. This is a really important statistic to be monitoring because sometimes you may find you get to a critical mass. I've got one customer who currently has approximately 75% of the Australian market for his particular niche market. So to get him more visitors is an uphill battle because there's not that many more people to get. So what we need to work on with him is conversion percent, because he's getting so many visitors. He's actually got a very low conversion rate. It's under 0.5%. Fortunately, he's selling big ticket items, so it's not a really big problem. But for him, we're working on conversion, and that's about some of the testing that I'll get onto in a minute. And Jordan talked about some of that earlier as well. So. To give you some idea of what most of our clients are doing right now, so we'll go into a couple of examples here. People are actually getting between 1% and 3% conversion, and that's when they're monitoring sales. So that's a really good effort if you're selling to between 1% and 3% of your visitors to your website. And a couple of examples of some of the conversion or SEO work that we've done recently. We had a builder that was working with us. He was previously getting 2 to 3 inquiries per month. After we did SEO and conversion on him, he was getting 15 to 20 inquiries per month. So you can imagine the difference that would make to the activity in the office and what was happening for him. Another client of ours, we increased the number of products that were ranking in the top 5. From 800 to over 2,000 products that he ranks in the top 5 for Google. The increased we also managed to increase his video visitors from around about 3,000 to 5,000 per week. From 3,000 up to 5,000 per week. And we also increased the average time on the site from 2 minutes to 3.5 minutes. So these are some statistics that we're monitoring and some examples of results that we've actually been able to achieve for our clients. So the next thing I wanted to talk about was Website Optimizer. Website Optimizer is a product from Google. Now, what it does is it lets you know, when Jordan was showing you earlier about headline A versus headline B. So testing whether we should have an opt-in over on the right side or should we have it on the left side. Or what these tests do is that what Google is designed to do is actually show these tests for us, and it'll let you actually see the results from that testing. It does all the tracking, it does all the measurement for you, and most hosting systems that are out there to manage your website, or content management systems, can work with Google Website Optimizer. And you can get some very interesting results. So rather than relying on a gut feel that says, well, I think most people don't like video in the version 2, and they don't want to have the content interrupted by images, versus version 1, where we think nobody likes video and they really want to just get a quote. We can actually use real data of real customers in order to figure out which one's actually going to get you the best sales. So using Website Optimizer, it's a little bit technical to set up, but if you can get your head around it, or you can outsource it, then it is well worth the trouble, and that's what does that's what links back to your conversion rate. So as I said before, conversion rate's really important. This is how you increase your conversion rate. Okay, so my big trends for 2012. If you're running AdWords yourself, I'm going out there to say it's going to cost you more, and you're not going to get a whole lot of extra in results this year. I've got one particular customer at the moment who's just moved over to moving over to us to manage his AdWords. He's been doing it for 3 years, and he's watched his results go down and down. So when he first started running AdWords, he was getting between 3 to 5 phone calls per day in his industry, which for him was great. He had 2 sales staff, so they could handle the inquiry levels, and it was fantastic. And what he's seen over the last few years is that it's getting more and more competitive, particularly if you're targeting on a very large area. More and more difficult to get to the top of to get a lot of leads out of AdWords, and he's spending more and more. He's now only getting 0 to 1 call each day from his AdWords spend. So he's coming across to us, and I'm really looking forward to see the results that we get out of that for him. Online video is going to become key in any serious online marketing campaign. If you're not doing videos at least once a month, then you're not going to be found in Google very easily. It's so key, particularly in the more competitive keywords, to have some video going on there. And as Jordan mentioned earlier, targeted marketing, or focusing on the long tail, that's where the results will come in 2012. It just seems to make a lot more sense that if someone's more specific about what they want, they're getting closer to the point of making a purchase. So people will on average do between 3 and 5 searches for any particular product or service that they're after. If it's taken them that long, they've usually had a little bit of an education process along the way, and they're becoming more and more specific in their search. So if you're the website that appears when they're getting more specific, and then you've got the credibility and all the marketing behind your website when they get there, then you're more likely to get the sale. One little time waster at the moment, if you haven't heard of Google Plus yet, it's Google's answer to Facebook. It'll continue to flounder. I likened it recently to the Colosseum, that when it's empty, it's this wonderful, great big system that's ready to go, and there's nobody there. So now is the time to go and register your name. Make sure you own your space so that no one else can take it. But for the moment, I can't see anything happening there unless Google changes tactics drastically for a good 6 to 8 months. So don't spend too much time on Google Plus right now. So I was going to hand back to Jordan. Jordan, did I have? Were there any other questions that came up then for you that you wanted me to go into some more detail about?
No, that's fine. I thought we'd go through the couple of key things after this. So.
Okay, you're a little bit quiet. I can't hear you so well.
Can you hear me now?
That's much better, thank you.
Hello. Cool. Sorry, I just adjusted the mic. Yeah, I'll just go through a few key things, just in terms of some plans for implementation, just to help people in focusing the doing side of things.
All right, I'll give you back the screen so we can see your screen.
Yep. Share my screen. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay, all right. So I just want to talk about implementation for a little bit, because all this information can be very overwhelming, and basically I've created a couple of charts just to focus on how we implement these things, or how to help you implement these things. So to build looks like a bit of an upside down house. So with marketing, at the top level, these are the things that you need to be doing on an ongoing basis, and then below that are things to develop before you launch your ongoing programs. So a program being running some Google AdWords or search engine optimization or conversion testing and so on. Whereas below that line there, it's about developing your marketing and your website as one process. So we take from the bottom, obviously start with planning. Planning is very much the what to do, and this is something that I can actually have a chat to you about. What's the best approach, what's the best direction, and so on. Then there's something I call a blueprint. Now a blueprint this is just another term I've come up with. A blueprint contains details to do something. And a lot of people go into a plan and then they start writing some copy and so on. A blueprint is to help define, and these are things we can actually workshop with you. Things like key messages, what are the best features and benefits to highlight, what are some keyword areas, keyword research. It's just the strategy or the consulting element of coming up with, the brainstorming side of coming up to what needs to be done. What are the key messages, and then those key messages can be turned into content. What are the keywords, and then how do we put those keywords into a search engine optimization plan? So Blueprint is typically something we do as a workshop with a lot of our customers. So it's kind of sit by you and do it with you. And then you've got website to work. Now, there's a process that I call making a website work, and it's not just focusing on designing a website, it's taking the whole process of making a website work. So, copywriting, web design, not just to look good, but to convert, development, plugging in the right tools to automate certain systems, Google Analytics, to track everything, getting everything search engine ready. So we actually have a good process to follow to help go through a process of making your website work. So before you launch a program to get new business, the first step, one of the first steps before doing that is taking yourself through a process of making your website work, using a whole range of elements, and then you can launch your programs. So once your website's ready to convert, driving traffic to the website, I like to call it a traffic program, because AdWords may be one part of it, then there's a little bit of SEO, then there might be some Facebook marketing, but the whole outcome of all of those tactics is to get traffic. Website optimization, doing some of this split testing, testing headlines, testing call to actions, test. That's something to be done ongoing. Email communication, so broadcasting regular communication to your database, and that communication on Facebook as well, so executing ongoing messages. And then there's a saying, if you get it to work online, then it's worth taking it offline. So that's one thing we want to focus on, is offline mediums still work. It's not to be ignored, but it's how to get those offline mediums to work with your online. For example, TV, radio, print advertising, referrals is a form of offline marketing. These are the elements that can be integrated with your online marketing. So that's just a bit of a plan. But it's good to go from the bottom up, not from the top down. A lot of people do go from the top down, and then they waste some money, and then they realize they need to get their website to work. Okay, now just some quick things on finalizing. We've hit the hour mark. You have a few options with doing all of this. You can go down the do-it-yourself track, or you can go down the do-it-for-you track. Now, the do-it-yourself track is basically, getting training and educating yourself. Now, I come across a lot of people, they spend a lot of money on education, and they don't do it. So, unless you're a doer, I don't recommend going down the do-it-yourself track, because you spend all that money on education and you could have got someone to do it for you. So it's kind of like a catch-22. So if you do it yourself, find the time, be disciplined. You've got to be learning a lot of stuff. I do always recommend learn an element of it so you understand what you are outsourcing. But to really get it to work on a do-it-yourself level, you need in-depth information. Second of all, you have do-it-for-you. So outsourcing. Now, outsourcing can be a bit scary because people are doing things and you want to control it and make sure it fits with your brand and your integrity and who you are. There's a term I like to use, which is insourcing, where you're still outsourcing, but you're dealing with a person. You're talking to them on a regular basis, and you take ownership on who you deal with. Now, we've created a bit of a model for that. So this is what we call our virtual marketing team. And this is the relationship we like to work with people on. First part is you've got a marketing consultant. And that person is to do strategy, to talk like myself and Brendan, to workshop things, blueprints, planning, and so on, and getting everything right to implement. And then we've got what we call a virtual marketing manager. Now they're the person that gets stuff done, make sure you're ticking all the boxes and hitting all the milestones. Now you can do these elements yourself, but it's good to have that accountability within an outsourcing arrangement. A lot of people are dealing direct with the skill sets, which we see at the bottom. They're dealing with a copywriter, a web developer, a designer, and a Google specialist. So and a content writer. So by dealing with those people, you're managing a lot of people. It becomes like building a house. You're dealing with all these different people, and you can lose focus. So having this type of arrangement is a really good setup. And above the line there, the role is briefing, managing, deadlining, reviewing, consulting. Below is actually doing the work. Now we have specialists in all these different fields, and we've put it together as a marketing team solution for small to medium businesses to make it just as cost effective if they were to employ someone, but not just relying on one person, but relying on a team. So, and also, what type of things that we do? So as web-based marketing, if you want to engage us as your outsourced marketing partner, these are the type of things that we do. We take a holistic, integrated approach to marketing. We're doing regular phone calls, helping define key messages, writing content, email marketing management, managing your online advertising, search engine optimization. The list goes on. Web design, web development, reviewing, reporting, discussing, planning, and the main thing, if we could scrap all that, it would be get results online. That's probably a one word. So these are the type of things we do. We're very much focused on deliverables, so you can see what you're getting, and we're very much on partnership. We want you to feel like you've employed us to sit by your side and be your online marketing manager. So I'll leave that slide up. We're offering a free web marketing audit. If you want to go to that link. And have a chat with myself, and I'll do a bit of a review of your website. But Brendan's just highlighted here. Maybe we could ask a few questions in regards to some of the things we spoke about, and myself and Brendan can have a bit of a chat to them about it. If you do need to leave the webinar, that's fine, but we're willing to sit here for a period of time and getting you guys to put some questions forward for us to throw some answers back at you. So
okay, we've got a couple of questions here, Jordan. Anthony's asked, he's uploading articles to his website and then linking back to them from Twitter, and he's just wondering whether he should put them into a PDF or whether he should create actual pages. The best way to do it, Anthony, is to create pages on your website. The easiest platform for this is some type of blogging platform. Most content management systems include a blogging platform, and or you can get a separate standalone blogging platform. So definitely, it's not that Google doesn't recognize PDFs. It's simply that for rating in search engines, you're better off with HTML or normal website pages. There was also another detail question. How many keywords should you include on your website? Okay, it's not a simple answer, this one, of saying that one website can have 6 or 12 or 24 keywords. The short answer is that as long as it's under, one website should. Most small businesses should have a website that's targeted to one keyword group or one category of topics. So if you're selling promotional products, make sure all of your website is about promotional products. It's not about car parts. It's not to say that you can't still rate for other keywords. It just takes a lot more effort to get them to get rated for other keywords. So Google likes to see specialized targeted websites that are around a single theme, is the word that they use, so category, theme. And if you're as long as you're working within a single theme, you should be okay. And the number of keywords within that theme, I've got several websites that we're tracking literally thousands of keywords. So I hope that answers your question, and that question came from Nick. Thanks, Nick. There's a couple of questions that are more specific to individual websites. Thanks for those, guys. What we'll do is Jordan can give you a call and actually talk specifically to you about your website. They're just not relevant to a conversation here with everyone listening. And if you've got any more questions, please post those now, and we'll give you just a few moments. Jordan, was there anything else you wanted to add?
No, that's it. That's basically it. So we look forward to talking to you in person.
And Rhiannon has asked if we're getting a copy of the slides. Yes, we're going to post the slides on SlideShare, so you will be able to get a copy of those. And there will also be a video of this seminar. So unless there's any more questions coming, you've got a few seconds before we finish up. Thank you very much for attending today and bearing with us during the technical difficulties we had at the beginning. So thank you very much for being here, and I look forward to speaking to you soon.